I, 36 female, have a teen son, Liam. His dad bailed on us when he was 1. He was too much of a coward to tell me himself that he didn't want to be a dad anymore and got his parents to tell me. I was devastated. His parents weren't very happy with him and tried to convince him to come back, but he refused. I moved on and met my now husband, Daniel, 38, when Liam was 4. He's good to Liam and sees him as his own. Liam knows that Daniel's not his biological dad, but that doesn't matter to him. Daniel loves kickboxing, and it didn't take long before Liam became passionate about it as well. So Daniel enrolled him into a kickboxing club. They both trained a lot, and Liam started winning local tournaments. Unbeknownst to me at the time, my ex's sister, April, had been sending my ex these updates on Liam. Despite my moving on, I still had contact with my ex-parents-in-law, and my son has a relationship with them. We're always invited to family events like birthdays and holidays, and they're fine with my husband. Not once had my ex shown up while we were there. I did know that my ex did mend his relationship with his family at some point. I told my ex's parents that the door was open for him to visit and have a relationship with Liam if he wanted when Liam was younger, but he never did take me up on my invitation. So on to what happened at April's daughter Sophie's birthday. We showed up, and the first thing I noticed was that April was looking stressed. I knew why when I noticed my ex was sitting at a table with his girlfriend. Liam came in beside me, and my ex nodded at him and said, "Hey, son." Liam froze. There was this horrible pause, and my ex said, "I heard you're doing well in your fighting. You got that from my side." Before I could say anything, Liam said, "Don't try to claim something you've never had a part in." Everyone was quiet and watching us. April tried to intervene, but my ex said I raised him to be a brat, and Liam just went off on him, and a lot of heated words came out of my son that I've never heard him say before. He called him a deadbeat and said he abandoned us and that he was just a waste of space. Daniel had to come in and only caught the end of it. He had to drag out Liam before it escalated. We ended up leaving and my son was crying. April texted later and said she wanted an apology from Liam for ruining Sophie's birthday. I told her to let him calm down first, but she kept pushing it until I snapped and said I would not get him to apologize for telling the truth. She called me an idiot. Since then, I've been getting pressured from my ex's family to apologize. I haven't told Liam yet because he's still hurting from that day. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Anger is a valid response to emotional manipulation and deadbeat parenting. Your son needs your love and support. Don't you dare ask your son to apologize. He did nothing wrong, not one thing. The adults who thought a surprise was the right way to reintroduce a deadbeat dad are morons. The loser trying to casually take credit for the efforts of a son he didn't raise is also a moron. You need to tell your son you had no idea what his relatives were planning and that you support him 100% for his very normal response, given the situation. Then you need to keep him from seeing that side of the family until they apologize for springing all this on you and swear not to force their scummy son/brother into your kid's life without asking first. And Sophie deserves an apology from her stupid mother and uncle. They ruined her birthday. Also, one thing that stuck out, imagine after your dad has made sure to avoid every single milestone in your life, he decides to meet you at your cousin's milestone? That was pretty crappy of the dad. Ugh, that is so true. And to stake a claim and try to parent? This dude lost that privilege. OP, they surprised you and your son with your ex. How did they think that would go well? Neither you nor your son owe deadbeat dad an apology. Everything said by your son was true. Your in-laws all have two choices. They can back down and see your son's point of view, or they can lose contact with you and your son. I'm sorry that you and your family are dealing with this. My husband and I divorced because he wanted to move his mother in with us, and I refused to live like that. He ended up doing so we divorced. It's been 2 years since our divorce, and our child is a young grammar schooler. The problem is, Our child constantly asks why we can't be a normal family, and my ex always puts the blame on me and tells our child things like, "Mommy didn't want me to help Grandma, so she left." Which is true, but he misses the context and he knows it. I was put in a position where I ended up taking care of a grandparent with dementia as a child, and I swore to myself I would never go down that path again. The reality is I was a stay-at-home parent, and we all know sooner or later I would have been charged with doing the care. I wasn't putting myself through that. I tried to explain to our child, but they're young and simply don't understand. All they see is their father doing his best to care for his mother. Our son also loves his grandmother to pieces. I'm at a breaking point because this past Christmas, my kid told me that they hate the fact that we cannot be with Dad. Ex had our kid on Christmas Eve, and for Christmas last year, I wanted to take our kid to see my side of the family. Our child was rude to my family, throwing tantrums and being a little idiot. I'm considering giving my ex full custody, not vice versa. I know I can't provide the same life my ex could for our child. My mother-in-law has early onset dementia. He pays for her care. My husband has money but is not super wealthy, and he will not be able to sustain the cost of care in the long run. My ex was fully aware of where I stood on this. I wasn't going to stay and become the one expected to solve the problems. No one on his side of the family has experience with dementia. They wouldn't listen to someone with experience that, in the long run, it's better to put them in a home early than wait until later. My ex especially didn't want to listen. I know you cannot argue with people who've decided on this. I don't regret leaving. I do regret my years away from work as a stay-at-home mom. I'm starting from the bottom, and I also regret that with my income, I can't provide the same quality of life for my son, which is why I'm considering giving full custody to my ex. I didn't qualify for spousal support because I have a valid degree. Am I the idiot for wanting to let him have full custody? Yikes! You are the idiot if you give up custody. Don't abandon your child because you're having a hard time handling the fallout of your divorce. Your kid is telling you precisely what's wrong with them, and you want to just cry and walk away from the child who probably already feels abandoned by you. That kid will forever know that mom decided they weren't good enough to stick around, not once but twice, because at their age, they can't handle some big trauma well, apparently without any help. Disagree. Since they're a kid, they prefer being around the fun parent, even if they're not doing a good job parenting. Maybe let your child live with your husband and his mom for longer periods of time, as long as your child wants. Right now, the child is probably only getting the holiday version of life with Dad and Grandma, and it's so nice and fun. The child isn't going to realize what it's like to live with a sick, elderly relative who needs constant care until he actually gets the chance to experience it. Agree. It's called parental alienation, and your ex is doing a good job of it. This is child abuse and needs to be brought before the judge before he destroys your relationship with your child. Of course, let the child know that you'll miss him a lot and take him back whenever they want, but give him the chance to experience living with Dad full time. You will also gain respect from the child for respecting their wishes and treating them like autonomous people, which will benefit their development. I, 29 female, own my own home. I was given my deposit in the form of an inheritance from my late grandmother 3 years ago. I'm fortunate and grateful for this, and I don't hide that's how I could buy it. My boyfriend, 27, of 8 months, just bought his first home. I'm very happy for him. However, he likes to tell people he did it without any help and saved it all by himself. This is technically true. He did save the money by himself, but he also got help in that his parents let him live at home, rent-free and food-free for years so he could save. He was able to save 30,000 pounds in 2 years because of this. He was having some friends around, not a housewarming, and bragging about how he saved up all by himself and didn't just get a handout like some people, while also looking at me. I was shocked by this, as due to the current housing market, everyone I know has had some help from family to buy homes, even those in couples. I said back what I said in the title and pointed out he lived at home rent-free for years, so he did get help from his parents. One of his friends agreed with me. My boyfriend got angry, and the night ended shortly after. Once everyone left, he told me I was an idiot and embarrassed him in front of his friends. So, am I the idiot for this? Edit, yes. He was deliberately looking at me when he made the comment. Everyone could tell. He paid for nothing while living at home. No rent, no contribution to gas or electricity, no council tax, and he didn't pay for food. He bought himself a newer car because he didn't like the family one he was able to use. After university, I house shared and rented for 5 years. I saved some money, but nowhere near enough to buy because of the cost of renting. I wouldn't have my home if not for my grandma because of the current housing situation. He was having some friends around, it was not a housewarming, and bragging about how he saved up all by himself and didn't just get a handout like some people, while also looking at me. This makes me say, not the idiot. If he'd have just said he saved up by himself as a throwaway comment and didn't make a comparison, it would have been a slight idiot move to call him out. However, making out his achievement in buying a house was somehow greater than yours was an idiot move on his part. That's called trying to one-up someone, but two-upped him. But I'm sure his friends already knew how he got the house. But more to the point, does OP want to stay in a relationship with a guy who acts this way? Bragging, lying, insulting OP, getting mad when OP calls him out on all this. Unless this was a one-off, this incident would cause me to seriously question my feelings for the guy if I were OP. Who wants to be with someone like that? Right, wow. I can't imagine being in a relationship with someone that minimizes my accomplishments. You're supposed to encourage and support each other, not tear each other down. OP, he made it a competition. He didn't have to put you down to have his moment. Rent and groceries are expensive, so he didn't do it all alone. My 39 male, sister-in-law 31, had her bachelorette party on Saturday. I volunteered to babysit her daughter, Tammy, fake name Tween, and my wife's cousin's kids, male tween and female pre-tween, at my place, while my wife, 37, her sister, and their cousin went to the party. Also present were my kids, male tween, female pre-tween, and female toddler. For dinner, we decided to have pizza. I made the order through an app. Now, I still need to figure out what happened, but the order was taking forever, and I was unable to contact the delivery guy. The pizza place wasn't helping either. After waiting for 90 minutes, I decided to cancel the order and pick a different restaurant. I had waited so long to cancel because this was my daughter's and Tammy's favorite pizza place. I got my daughter to support the new restaurant by telling her that they put ketchup on the pizza. Don't kill me. But Tammy was insistent on the first one. She had a crying fit while we were placing the new order. Even after she calmed down, she was still grumpy and short with the rest of us. At first, the kids and I tried to cheer her up, but then she told us to shut up or leave her alone whenever we tried. Throughout the wait, I reminded Tammy and the other kids that they wouldn't eat the pizza if they didn't behave. She still complained about the new restaurant multiple times. When the pizza finally arrived, Tammy opened the box and said, "I'm not eating that crap." She said that in front of the younger three. At that, I put the leftover chicken pasta in the microwave and told her that was her dinner. She started crying, saying she wanted the pizza and would behave herself, but I held my ground. Tammy didn't eat any of the pizza, but all the others did. My sister-in-law is calling me unfair and cruel for forcing Tammy to have leftovers while the other kids ate pizza. She's also accusing me of favoring my wife's cousin's kids and my own and insisting that there were better punishments that didn't involve excluding Tammy. My wife's completely on my side. Her cousin is on the fence. Am I the idiot? Tammy opened the box and said, "I'm not eating that crap." Oh boy, she's a tween. That's too young to speak this way, and she's simultaneously too old to behave this way. You're not the idiot. Holy moly. Right? The girl is throwing a tantrum like a toddler over pizza? Yikes. If I had behaved that way anywhere, there would have been serious repercussions, starting with a mouthful of soap for dinner. She's probably never faced a consequence before. Yep, and she had a crying fit over pizza. Tammy is way too old to be acting that way. I guess she's been severely spoiled to think this behavior's okay. You still fed her, so it's not like it was really an unreasonable punishment. Tammy messed around and found out. Welcome to real life, kiddo. She's obviously not used to people following through on their threats of punishment. Sounds like sister-in-law can find another sitter in the future for her special little princess. She created that monster. She can suffer the consequences. For context, I, 34 male, work as a hospice nurse in my country, specifically for children. This job means a lot to me, but it can get very overwhelming and hard to function, especially seeing small children suffer. My wife, 37, is a stay-at-home mom to our kids, a tween son and a young grammar school-age daughter. After work, I need to spend 30 minutes to an hour by myself just to let go of all the negativity, sadness, and stress that I have. And before you jump to conclusions about this time to myself, I give my wife a break. I take over the cooking of dinner, making snacks for the kids the next day, helping with homework, washing dishes, and any other pending housework. My wife has recently just been slamming into my room. It's just a tiny room with a bed and a mini fridge with Coca-Cola in it, and demanding that I take over or do something instead of just sulking in my room. It's especially annoying when you're meditating and someone starts screaming nonstop at you. I've talked to her, but she says it's selfish, that she has to take care of the kids while I act like a kid and cry or get intoxicated over my job. I told her that it's hard for me and that I don't drink and it's emotionally draining, so I don't want to bring that negativity into my family. She just started to scream at me, so I snapped at her to just get out because she was acting like a brat. She went silent and is now giving me the silent treatment. Am I the idiot? Edit. I meditated in my room. That's all. This was recommended to me by therapist friends and work-appointed therapy sessions. All my friends do it because it helps unwind. I was an alcoholic 13 years ago, but now every time we get into an argument, she always throws it back in my face. I take my kids to school and make them breakfast. I also say hi and give them hugs and kisses when I come home. I've explained to them just how they need a nap after school. Daddy also needs a little nap before he can come and play and help with homework. They understand, and my daughter frequently gives me her sleep stuffy of the day. Having to mentally decompress from work for up to an hour daily sounds exhausting and, quite frankly, not exactly healthy. I have a hard time believing this doesn't trickle down into your personal life. Somehow, despite the alone time, I don't think a judgment about this particular situation is helpful, but I'm extremely curious if you think this job is sustainable for you. For goodness sake, of course he needs to decompress after work. That job is unimaginably taxing on the soul. I understand his wife not wanting to wait up to an hour each day for a break, but if the kids are at the ages they would be in school all day, so she's pulling child duty in the morning and after school, not all day, with, say, toddlers. OP, you are not the idiot. It sounds like she also despises you. Calling you a baby for having feelings, working with dying sick kids is a weird level of callousness. Also, I can't understand her throwing his actions from 13 years ago in your face. That's just ugly. Sober for 13 years? Another huge daily accomplishment. Everyone's saying he needs to rethink his job. Just stop. It takes a special kind of person to be a hospice worker, much less to work with dying children. We as a society need people like him.